Stephanie, and welcome to Books and Bubbly. This is a playlist where I drink something bubbly while talking about books that I get all bubbly about. And today I'm reviewing an author who has been featured on this playlist before because she's amazing, but I'm going to be reviewing Megan Miranda's Daughter of Mine. It is rare that I am not hooked by a Megan Miranda book, and this one got me, obviously in a good way. Now, warning, there are going to be spoilers in this review. If you do want a spoiler-free review of this book, check out my What I Read in June video. Otherwise, let's go ahead and see what this guy promised. The discovery of the first car was a shock. The second car was a pattern, a warning, and the key to a decades-old mystery that may be better off left to the past. Mirror Lake, nestled in the mountains of North Carolina, is a beautiful waterfront community where neighbors know neighbors and family businesses are the norm. When the long-serving detective dies suddenly, his daughter, Hazel Sharp, returns home after nearly 10 years away. But Hazel isn't the only relic of the past to resurface. A drought has descended on the region, and as the water level in the lake drops, long-hidden secrets begin to emerge. Unearthing the mysteries of the past sets Hazel on a dangerous search to uncover the truth buried at the heart of her hometown and her family. So I really enjoyed this mystery and trying to figure out what was going on with the cars being found right alongside Hazel. We open with Hazel mourning the death of her father, who, last warning for spoilers, isn't her biological father. So we learn that Hazel's mom, Libby, who wasn't always on the up and up, left Hazel behind after stealing money from Detective Perry Holt. So Libby left her a note asking for Hazel's forgiveness. So Holt continued to raise Hazel as his own alongside his two sons, and has now left his home and everything inside it, which is very important legal contract, to Hazel, much to the dismay of her brothers Gage and Caden. But on the day of his funeral, a car is being towed from the lake, and people are wondering who it belongs to and what it means. Then another car is found right behind now Hazel's house, which was Holt's house, which backs up to the lake. So only this time, Hazel recognizes the second car, and she recognizes the luggage in the trunk that belonged to her and her mother. The luggage is empty. We start to wonder, what really happened to Libby? Did she just leave her daughter in the dust, or was Libby possibly taken from Hazel and did not leave voluntarily? Then things kind of start to get worse in the Holt-Sharp household when Hazel's former best friend and now sister-in-law, Jamie, ends up going missing as well. And worse, Caden, who is Jamie's husband, again, Hazel's half or stepbrother, almost kind of seems okay with her supposedly running off, though Hazel doubts that Jamie would ever leave her daughter behind. Even Gage tells Hazel that she's blowing things out of proportion and not to worry. But Hazel is worried. She's finding things in her dad's house that she knows shouldn't be there, like a gun that may have belonged to her mother, and a buried jewelry box that belonged to Holt's first wife, Audrey, who died in a bicycling accident when the boys were really young. Then Hazel sees a picture of Audrey, sitting on the hood of that first car that was pulled out of the lake. She starts to wonder, how well did she really know her father? What secrets might he have been keeping? Or could it be what secrets others in town are keeping? This book definitely nails the small town setting of everyone knowing everyone's business and secrets, because she too is keeping a secret. So when she was young, she found a secret closet filled with crime scene photos in her crush Nico's house that most likely belonged to his father, who was also on the police force. Hazel needs to figure out what happened to Holt's wives and hope she can save Jamie from the same fate. I really loved trying to figure out this mystery. I think the pacing worked really well here with the well-timed reveals of new information or an understanding of what a clue means. I think she plants the seeds really well and kind of does like Chekhov's gun really nicely. Like, we'll find something, it's a clue, don't know what it means, and then later we fully understand what that means. And I think the puzzle here came together just so nicely. Like, we eventually learned that the note Hazel got from her mom was a forgery, and only half of it at that. She finds out that her mom originally intended to take Hazel with her, as Libby was realizing something wasn't quite right in this town and family, but she never got the chance. I think Miranda does such a good job of creating tense atmosphere and that creepy, like, goosebumps on the neck feeling of someone just watching you. I always fly right through her books, and I can't look away, and Daughter of Mine definitely went that way. I needed to understand what really happened and who knew what, and who didn't want Hazel finding anything out and was trying to run her out of town. I thought I had this one figured out. I actually had my suspicions pinned on Caden being involved, and in a way he was, but not in a nefarious manner. So we find out that Audrey did die in a bicycling accident, but Holt was also there and played a hand in her accident. She was going to leave him, and he was upset and drove around trying to find her and couldn't brake in time. Caden and Gage both witnessed their mother's death and have some serious unresolved trauma from it. So when Libby and Hazel enter the picture, Caden did not enjoy Hazel's presence, but he did latch on to Libby. He eventually told her about what happened to Audrey, and that freaked her out, so she was going to leave with Hazel and get her away from the situation. He was a child and he didn't understand the magnitude of what he was telling Libby. The other side of it that we don't really see until the end is that Libby took the money out of Holt's account, as his brother, Roy, was essentially blackmailing Libby and was going to set her up as the fall guy for him skimming money off the top of his own accounts. Roy is the one who took Libby's life and ended up pushing her car into the lake. So it all culminates with Roy and Hazel in a standoff when Caden arrives on the scene, and we have no idea if he's going to back his uncle or his sister that he has a pretty tumultuous relationship with. He ends up getting shot by Roy, not lethally, but honestly, I didn't know which way he was going to turn. I was expecting the big bad to be Caden, or even Nico, the crush that she has, and the guy whose dad was hiding crime scene photos in a closet, because there's so much attention paid to those death pictures that they found in the house when they were kids. There was also this whole romance subplot with Nico and Hazel that I did like, but I actually felt it was a little underdeveloped and then just kind of like swept under the rug. We know that they have some history and the missed chances to be together, but then we don't really get a resolution at the end of the book on what the status of their relationship is. Can I at least get an "it's complicated" Facebook status? I actually do think that is my biggest criticism of the book. The ending felt very rushed, and I wanted more time to wrap up subplots and get closure on things. There was this whole point of Caden pointing out how Hazel does whatever Gage says and how she idolizes him, but then it means nothing, or it's not really explored. Like, I do feel there were some things in this that were just straight up misdirects or red herrings that didn't really get a payoff. I wanted to see more of their new normal at the end and get some more answers. But I still think that this was great and very much in line with what I expect from Megan Miranda. I absolutely love her books for her settings. I could see Hazel's dad's house, I could see the lake, I could see the characters, and I could feel that small town atmosphere where everyone knows everyone and everyone they were ever related to. And just that feeling of what's going to happen next? Who will our protagonist realize that they cannot trust? Again, Miranda knocks it out of the ballpark with creating suspense and justifiable paranoia. Hazel wasn't making stupid decisions just so the story could happen, and I really liked Hazel as our protagonist, and I liked seeing how she put certain clues together and figured things out. The tension continues to build and build with each reveal, and I was so here for it. Like her books though, It can read a bit like a slow burn, but I still thought that the pacing and timing of the reveals was really done well in this. Now, the relationship between Hazel and her brothers was also well written, and I can totally understand the dynamic between her and Caden in that they're so similar that they just annoy each other. Their relationships are complex, but they still read like a family. Hazel might not be blood, but she is still their sister. I ended up giving this 4 out of 5 stars. I thought it was gripping, I just couldn't put it down, and Miranda will continue to be an auto-buy author for me. I think her work is fantastic. I do have 2 more Miranda books on my to-be-read shelf. I have The Girl from Widow Hills and The Safest Lies. So if you've read either of those, let me know which one I should pick up next, or if you have any recs for books that take place in like a small town and have that really tense, creepy atmosphere, please drop those suggestions in the comments as well. Otherwise, thanks for joining me for Books and Bubbly.